Welcome back to Firesquid Capital Funding Edge. We're all about alternative lending strategies to help get you funded and quickly. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into something I know is on a lot of your minds, seed funding.
Yeah.
More specifically, some of those common mistakes entrepreneurs make when they're applying, so you hopefully avoid them and have a better chance of success, right?
Exactly.
And we're going to base this deep dive on Firesquid Capital's firsthand observations and data. They see these missteps all the time.
It's true. And the impact can be pretty significant, actually. I mean, for instance, applications that don't have like a crystal clear vision, those have a 78% higher rejection rate, which is a lot.
78%. Wow.
Yeah.
I bet a lot of entrepreneurs, they hesitate, right? They feel like their idea has to be like perfect before they even apply.
Yeah, that's super common. We call it the "I'm not ready yet" syndrome.
Okay.
But the truth is, seed funding, it's not about presenting a, flawless finished product. It's about the potential, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Investors at this stage, they're looking for a strong vision, a capable team, and a promising market opportunity, not perfection.
So it's more about showing that you have a good grasp of the problem, the market, and a plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Investors, they're looking for a diamond in the rough, not a polished gem. They're, betting on your ability to shape that diamond with their support.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can see how that perfectionist mindset, like you were talking about, that can hold people back.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes to something as important as, as funding.
Absolutely. And that's really where Firesquid Capital comes in. They don't just, provide the funding. They actively help entrepreneurs get ready for the whole process. They offer guidance, resources to refine your pitch, polish your business plan, even connect you with the right investors. It's a more hands-on approach.
So they're really invested in the success of the entrepreneurs they work with. That's really interesting. So speaking of getting ready for the funding process, what's like another common mistake?
One we see pretty often is what we call the shotgun approach. So it's like this baker, Sarah, we worked with. She had this amazing, super unique cookie recipe.
Huh.
People loved them.
Nice.
But when it came to funding, she was just, sending generic applications everywhere, no tailored strategy.
So going for quantity over quality.
Yeah.
I bet that didn't work out too well.
Oh, remember that 78% rejection rate we talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's often, the result of that kind of scattershot approach.
Okay.
Investors, they can spot a generic application right away. They want to see that you understand their specific focus, how your business fits into their portfolio.
So how do you avoid that shotgun approach trap? What's the secret?
It's all about having a strategic blueprint. This goes beyond just a basic business plan. It's a deep dive into your mission, your market analysis, your financial projections, your value proposition, everything that shows you've really thought this through.
So it's not enough to have a great idea. You got to package it the right way, target it.
Right. Imagine you're building a house. You wouldn't just start throwing bricks together, right?
Hopefully not.
You'd need blueprints. A foundation, a structure to support your vision. A strategic blueprint, it does that for your business.
Okay, so avoid the shotgun approach. Craft a strategic blueprint. Got it. What else?
Well, choosing the right lender is huge. We call it finding the right fit. You need to consider things like lender specialization, their typical investment range, their overall philosophy, their track record.
That makes sense. To get more information about Firesquid Capital and its lending products, visit firesquidcapital.com.
Yeah, that's important. So back to the fit. We often see entrepreneurs, and they're so focused on getting funding, they just apply to anyone and everyone, regardless of whether that lender, actually invests in their kind of business. It's like Mark, this tech innovator we spoke to. He was developing a really cutting-edge app, but he kept applying to firms that specialized in physical products. Total mismatch from the start.
Oh, yeah. Like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. It happens all the time. Just like every entrepreneur is unique, every funding source is unique too, and the wrong lender. That can mean a frustrating, really time-consuming process and often no results.
So how do you find the right fit? It's more than just, Googling seed funding, right?
It definitely is. It's about taking the time to research potential lenders, look at their portfolios, their investment philosophies, their track records. Do they usually invest in companies like yours?
Yeah.
Does your funding need align with their typical investment range? All important questions.
So be strategic and selective.
Yes, and our internal research at Firesquid Capital, it shows that if you don't align with the lender's focus, there's actually a 60% lower chance of even getting your application reviewed.
What's 60%?
Yeah, so targeting the right investors, it's absolutely crucial.
That's huge. So finding the right fit can literally like make or break your chances.
It really can. And it goes beyond just, increasing your odds of getting the funding. It's about finding partners, people who truly understand your business, who can offer valuable guidance and support, who share your vision for the future.
That partnership is so important. It's not just about the money. It's about finding the right people to be on the journey with you.
Exactly. And that's something we believe in very strongly at Firesquid Capital. They're not just a funding source. They're a partner in growth.
Okay. So we've talked about avoiding the shotgun approach, finding the right fit. What's another common mistake?
Well, this one's a classic, the data dump. So you have someone like Elena, for example, brilliant engineer, developed this groundbreaking medical device. She was so passionate, but when it came to presenting to investors, she just overwhelmed them with all this technical data, complex diagrams, jargon.
Oh, no.
She was so focused on the technical brilliance, she forgot to connect on a human level.
Right. Forgot that investors are people too. They need to be engaged, understand the impact, not just get bombarded with data.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have great data. You have to present it in a way that resonates. Think about it. Would you rather read a dry technical manual or hear a captivating story?
A story, for sure.
Right. It's about finding that balance between data and storytelling.
I get it. But I can see how that could be a tough balance, especially for someone like Lana coming from a technical background.
Yeah, it can be. But it's essential. Our data at Firesquid Capital shows that applications that just rely on technical data without that human element, they have a 45% lower chance of even getting a second meeting.
Wow. 45%.
Yeah.
So even if your idea is incredible, if you can't communicate it effectively, you're probably going to be overlooked.
Yeah, that's the hard truth. And that's why Firesquid Capital, they work with entrepreneurs to craft a compelling narrative. Start with the story. What problem are you solving?
Yeah.
What's the impact? And then weave in your data points to support that story.
It's about painting a picture, not just presenting a spreadsheet.
Exactly. People connect with stories. They remember stories. And if you can tell a compelling story about your business, you're much more likely to leave a lasting impression.
Makes sense. Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to remind listeners to get more information about Firesquid Capital and its lending products. You can visit firesquidcapital.com. Now, this whole, crafting a compelling narrative, that seems like something a lot of entrepreneurs might struggle with, especially if they don't come from a storytelling background,
You're right. It is a skill that takes practice, but I think one of the biggest hurdles for entrepreneurs isn't the storytelling itself. It's the fear that they don't have the right connections. They feel like they need to be part of some exclusive in-crowd to even have a chance.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a big concern. It can feel intimidating, putting yourself and your idea out there, especially if you feel like you're starting from scratch.
Yeah, I get that. But while those connections, they can be helpful, they're not the only thing that matters. At Firesquid Capital, we're always open to new companies, regardless of their network. We believe great ideas can come from anywhere.
That's great to hear. So for those entrepreneurs that, feel like they are starting from scratch, like where do they even begin with building those connections?
Well, one strategy is focusing on quality over quantity. Instead of trying to connect with everyone, you target those individuals who are, genuinely interested in your industry, your business, or your mission. Attend, industry events, join online communities, reach out to mentors or advisors.
So be strategic, not just like collecting business cards, right?
Right, exactly. And don't underestimate just, starting conversations. You never know where a casual chat could lead. And remember, building relationships, it takes time, It's about cultivating those genuine connections, not just adding names to a list.
It's about those authentic connections, yeah. Now, another big worry, I think, for a lot of entrepreneurs is the business plan itself. Some might feel like their plan just, isn't good enough to get that funding. That can be a real roadblock.
Yeah, and it's understandable, The business plan, it's often seen as this make or break document, this complex roadmap that has to be, perfect. But that's not really true.
So it doesn't have to be this like masterpiece of literary and financial genius.
Exactly. It doesn't need to win any awards for its prose. What matters is clarity, conciseness, and realism, you know?
Yeah.
It needs to show that you understand the market, your target audience, your revenue streams, your plan for growth.
So it's more about showing your thought process. You can think strategically about your business than just trying to write the most elaborate document.
Exactly. And remember, a business plan, it's a living document. It should evolve as your business grows and changes, right? Don't get bogged down trying to make it perfect from the start. Focus on building a solid foundation that you can, build on.
It's not just a static thing. It's a tool that can guide you.
Speaking of things that can be intimidating, let's talk about rejection. I imagine that fear of rejection that holds a lot of entrepreneurs back from even applying for funding in the first place.
It's a totally understandable fear, right?
Yeah.
I mean, putting yourself and your idea out there for scrutiny, that can be incredibly nerve-wracking. And the thought of being rejected, it can feel very personal.
Yeah, like you're putting your heart and soul on the line only to be told like it's not good enough.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to reframe how we think about rejection. At Firesquid Capital, we see it as part of the process, not a reflection of your worth.
Okay.
It doesn't mean your idea is bad. It might just not be the right fit for that particular investor at that particular time.
It's about detaching your ego from the outcome and seeing it as a learning experience.
Yeah, precisely. Each rejection, it can provide valuable feedback. Maybe it helps you refine your pitch, improve your business plan, even shift your strategy. So not a failure, but a stepping stone.
That's a great way to put it. And remember, even the most successful entrepreneurs, they've faced rejection at some point.
It's all part of the process. But, knowing that doesn't always make it easier to deal with. What advice would you give to those entrepreneurs who are, struggling to overcome that fear and put themselves out there?
Well, first just remember you're not alone. Every entrepreneur, they face this fear, right? It's normal. Second, focus on your why. Why are you passionate about this idea? Why do you believe in it? Connect with that passion and let it fuel your determination.
It's about tapping into that inner drive. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about Maria. She's a perfect example of an entrepreneur who faced a lot of these common mistakes, head on. Tell us her story.
Sure. So Maria, she was this passionate educator. She had this vision, to revolutionize online learning, especially for underprivileged children.
Yeah.
She had this innovative ed tech platform, but when it came to securing seed funding, she just hit a wall. Her initial applications, they were just met with rejection after rejection, and she was, feeling really discouraged.
Oh, man. It sounds like she was doing everything right, but something just wasn't clicking. I can imagine how disheartening that must have been.
It was a real blow. She was ready to give up, but thankfully she reached out to Firesquid Capital for guidance, and that's when her journey took a turn for the better.
So they played a key role in helping her get back on track. What did they do differently?
Well, working with our team, Maria, she was able to pinpoint those mistakes that were holding her back. She realized her applications lacked focus. They were often sent to the wrong investors, and they just overwhelmed them with data without a clear, compelling narrative. It was a classic case of the shotgun approach combined with the data dump.
Sounds like we were saying earlier. How did Firesquid Capital help her turn things around?
Well, first we helped her craft a concise, compelling narrative that focused on the human impact of her platform. So instead of leading with all that technical jargon, she learned to tell her story in a way that resonated with investors, highlighting the problem she was solving and the potential impact, on children's lives.
It's amazing how a story can transform a pitch.
Hmm.
Right? It's not just data and numbers. It's about, connecting with people on a deeper level. To get more information about Firesquid Capital and its lending products, visit firesquidcapital.com.
Exactly. And that shift from a data-driven approach to a story-driven approach, that made a huge difference for Maria. We also helped her identify funding sources that were a better fit, for her mission and her vision. So she learned to research potential investors carefully, looking for those that had a track record of supporting edtech ventures.
So from that scattershot approach to a much more targeted strategic method, did anything else change in her approach?
Yeah, we worked with her to humanize her data, So instead of just bombarding investors with all these complex statistics, she learned to connect those data points to real-world examples and case studies. She made her pitch more relatable and engaging while still, backing it up with the evidence.
So she found a way to bring that data to life.
Yeah, it was a game changer. After implementing all these changes, Maria's second round of applications, they had a 75% higher acceptance rate compared to her first attempt.
That's a huge improvement. So focusing on those key areas really, really paid off.
It absolutely did. And Maria's story, it's a perfect example of how Firesquid Capital, they go beyond just, providing funding. They're committed to partnering with entrepreneurs, offering that guidance and support to help them, achieve their goals.
Really inspiring. And it shows the power of perseverance and seeking guidance when you need it. So what are like some key takeaways from Maria's journey that our listeners can, apply to their own experiences?
Well, one crucial takeaway is the importance of clarity and conciseness when it comes to your vision. Know what problem you're solving, who your target market is, how you plan to reach them. Be able to articulate your value proposition in a way that's both compelling and easy to understand, right?
So it's not just about having a great idea, it's about communicating it.
Exactly. Another key takeaway is the importance of targeting the right investors. Take the time to research potential investors, find those that align with your business model, your industry, your stage of development. Don't waste time sending those generic applications, to every funding source you can find.
Quality over quantity.
Absolutely. And finally, never underestimate the power of crafting a compelling narrative. Investors are people too, and they connect with stories, right? Use storytelling techniques to breathe life into your data, to highlight the human impact of your idea, to create a memorable pitch that really resonates.
Finding that balance between data and storytelling, it's so crucial.
It is. It's about using data to support your story, not to overwhelm your audience.
Exactly. And remember, practice makes perfect. Rehearse your pitch until it feels natural, until it feels confident. Seek feedback from mentors, from advisors, and be prepared to answer those tough questions.
Those are all great tips. Now, before we move on to our final segment, I want to remind listeners that to get more information about Firesquid Capital and its lending products, you can visit firesquidcapital.com. They're there to support you on your entrepreneurial journey, just like they supported Maria. Now, let's wrap up our deep dive by offering a step-by-step solution and some pro tips that entrepreneurs can use to avoid those common seed funding mistakes and really increase their chances of success.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Like, let's break it down into actionable steps.
Okay, so the first step is to solidify your vision. Spend time developing a detailed business plan that outlines your goals, your target market, your revenue streams, your plan for growth.
Laying that foundation.
Exactly. The second step is to target your search for funding. Research potential investors carefully, looking for those that align with your business model, your industry, your stage of development.
Doing your homework, basically.
Exactly. The third step is to craft that compelling narrative. Don't just present data, tell a story. Engage your audience, highlight the human impact of your idea, make your pitch memorable.
Connect with them.
Exactly. And the fourth step is to showcase your team, Highlight the expertise and the experience of the people behind your vision. Investors, they want to see that you have a capable team that can execute your plan.
That you have the right people in place.
Precisely. Now let's move on to some pro tips that can help you, refine your approach and increase your chances of success.
Yeah, there's little nuggets of wisdom.
Exactly. First, practice your pitch until it feels natural, until it feels confident, right? Rehearse it in front of a mirror with friends and family, or even at local pitch events. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
It's like honing a skill.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Second, seek feedback from mentors, advisors, and experienced entrepreneurs. They can offer valuable insights and help you identify those areas for improvement.
It's about using that experience.
Precisely. Third, build relationships with potential investors before you need their money. attend industry events, connect on social media, and find opportunities to engage in meaningful
It's
conversations.
about cultivating those relationships.
Exactly. Fourth, be patient. Securing seed funding, it can take time. Don't get discouraged if you don't get a yes right away. Keep refining your pitch. Keep building those relationships and keep believing in your
The
vision.
long game.
Precisely. And finally, stay positive. Entrepreneurship, it's a roller coaster, right? There will be ups and downs. But if you maintain a positive attitude and focus on your why, you'll be able to weather those storms and come out stronger.
Stay positive, stay focused.
Exactly. And remember, Firesquid Capital is here to support you on your journey. They're more than just a funding source. They're a partner in growth.
That's what sets them apart. To get more information about Firesquid Capital and its lending products, visit firesquidcapital.com.
I think that's a perfect note to wrap up our deep dive into avoiding those common seed funding mistakes. We've covered a lot of ground today, but the key takeaway is that securing seed funding, it's not about luck or chance, right? It's about strategy, it's about preparation, and it's about perseverance. Yeah. It's about, understanding the process, avoiding those common mistakes, and approaching investors with a clear vision, a compelling story, and a real passion for your idea.
And remember, Firesquid Capital is there to support you every step of the way. They're more than just a funding source, right? They're a partner in growth.
That's right. That partnership approach, that's really at the heart of what they do.
So for our listeners who are ready to, take that next step, what's the best way to connect with Firesquid Capital and learn more?
It's easy. Just visit firesquidcapital.com. You'll find a ton of information about, their lending products, their investment philosophy, their team, everything. You can even schedule a consultation to discuss your specific funding needs.
Fantastic resource. I encourage everyone listening to check it out. Before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. The journey of entrepreneurship, it can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
It's a journey fueled by passion, innovation, and determination.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone. There are resources available, like Firesquid Capital, that can provide the guidance and the support you need to turn your vision into reality.
So embrace the challenges, learn from those mistakes, and never stop believing in yourself and your vision.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of seed funding. We hope you found it informative and inspiring. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.